With the action figure adventure currently, still going on in production and everything, what was the catalyst? Like, where did the idea just kind of pop up from, just to say, okay, let's go for it, let's make another feature, this is what it's going to be focused on, and then where did the idea of, the donating and helping out others come from through all of it? Like, what was that kind of popcorn moment?
Well, like I said, we liked what happened with Nintendo Quest, and the response was really good. And so once it checked all the boxes that it made sense to continue and go forward with something else that was collecting, we had to make the decision, was it going to be video games or was it going to be action figures? And we decided that we could do more of the same and know that we had a bit of a built-in audience with the gamers, or we could do something different to keep following other passions. So we ended up voting for the different stuff, even though it's been a bit more of an uphill battle because we're getting established in that scene. But I think it was a good decision to do that.
Yeah, and you have to remember that we have phone conferences at least once a week, and we went back and forth on this new idea for years. We were going to do a Mario doc, and then it was going to be maybe Genesis, and then Super Nintendo. But have you guys ever seen the film A Christmas Story? Of course you have, right? Yeah? Okay.
Oh, fudge.
So they made a sequel to Christmas Story. Yeah, nobody knows about that though, do they? So we were afraid that if you go to the well too many times and try and recreate that magic, it's not going to turn out so well. And I haven't seen Christmas Story 2, you have, and that's too bad for you. But
it's pretty good.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes a sequel is not always necessary. I'm not saying we're never going to games again, but...
And because it was Nintendo Quest and Jay going after his dream, what is he going to go after his dream again? And it was going to be Nintendo Quest 2? There's just so many things that didn't make sense about doing that. Super Nintendo Quest, sure, but the game industry was already changing and the prices were skyrocketing because of collecting docs like Nintendo Quest. So it made more sense to switch gears and do something different. So we decided, for me, the other big checkbox was, I don't want to follow you so you can collect something and we can reward you for having it on your shelf at the end of the day. Before it was fine if it's in pursuit of a dream and you feel personal satisfaction and you've changed as a result, but I'm not going to follow you around to buy toys so we can look at how well it's displayed after. So then it was, let's do a charity component. How can you collect for charity? And then it was, well, let's do an auction. Okay, how does that work? So you're going to front the money, and then the difference goes to charity. Well, what charities do we know? And you knew Children's Health for a while.
Yeah, so that's where the end came in, and I decided Children's Health. He's like, which one you want to do? We already have a good reputation with Children's Health, so it was a no-brainer for me. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great content on YouTube, and there's a lot of channels that I absolutely love and follow every week. Like Electrified Porcupine, www.awesome. But yeah, I mean, in something this scale, you need to have the story moving. You need to have a goal that's not necessarily always self-serving.
And I think it actually paints a nice arc between the two films where it is about a personal goal in Nintendo Quest, but then there is a learning and an understanding that it is always better to give to others when you can. And how far are you going to go to give to others that are in the most need? I think that's a nice arc and trajectory.
Excellent. So it's really great to hear about the whole fundraising and helping aspect, and knowing that Jay's going around looking for different figures, play sets, and stuff like that to bring to the table for this charity. But for anybody else that maybe hasn't read any other kind of stuff online, the Facebook page, all the other social media affiliated with action figure documentary/adventure, what else can you share with everybody about the upcoming film? Like, are you focusing on just Jay looking at toys? Are you interviewing anyone for various toy companies? Are you looking at various stores, collectors? Can you expand upon that?
Well, the first thing to say is that this is the first event that we're showing any kind of key art or poster. So again, we have some artwork here so you can see it. This was done by Chris Runciman, who's running Runciman Press, who's got a booth way over there. He's one of the guys that works at Heroes, and Heroes is a sponsor as well, if you guys are familiar with Heroes Comics downtown.
Everyone knows Big Chris, right?
Yeah, so
Big Chris did this.
Yeah. So showing the key art is one of the things that we're doing for sure. What other tidbits were you trying to get out of me?
Just
You're in it. That's a tidbit.
well, I didn't
That's how
know
we
that.
met.
I didn't want to plug again.
Why?
Yes, yeah, you
Stop
did.
now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was really cool because of you guys putting out some stuff on social media saying, you know, we're looking for people or collections and stuff like that, and so I took the bait, and now look where I am. I'm up here with you two.
So both of the films and series, and I guess we should talk about that. Nintendo Quest originally is just a 90-minute film, a documentary. Then we ended up showcasing it theatrically around North America and filmed that, and that became 9 episodes. So then all our distributors and broadcasters that were interested asked us to recut this into 4 episodes so that it became 13 episodes, which is a standard television run for something on the independent side. As a result of that, Action Figure Adventure has been formatted into a series from the beginning and then will likely get reformatted into a film later. But both feature topics where we get away from Jay's journey, talking about, in the case of Nintendo, the music of the NES, the key games, competitive gamers, collecting. And for action figures, we're going to talk about, you know, the importance of action figures, the roles, the skill building that you can do while playing, the role of packaging, the importance of the action feature in the action figure. And we've got a lot of big names for Action Figure Adventure. We have Kevin Smith on board, which is pretty awesome. We've got people from Mattel on board. We've got Ron Rudat from G.I. Joe, who's the lead designer on that stuff. He's on board. We've got quite a number of what I would call A-listers as part of Action Figure Adventure. And then some C and D listers like you, Peter.
I like being F.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
I'm an F.
lister.
Excellent. So we know that The Toys That Made Us has been very, very popular on Netflix and is probably one of those shows that has really helped the vintage market, you know, really skyrocket with many, many figures, or even people that own maybe the worst beat up version of He-Man think that it's worth $60, $70. There might be comparisons. People might say, you know, what's different about Action Figure Adventure than The Toys That Made Us? What's going to set you apart when people see, oh, here's another show about action figures?
Well, I love The Toys That Made Us. I love Brian Volk-Weiss. I love what they're doing. And we ran into those guys when we made Power of Grayskull, which is our He-Man documentary that's on Netflix.
Brilliant show, brilliant
There
show.
you go, plug. The difference is we're telling a story that's unfolding today. We're following Jay's journey of how we can take these relics from our past that still have prime interest and how we can transform people's lives today. Toys That Made Us does an excellent job of really showing the seeds and origins of all those lines. How did they come to be? How did they become those, you know, cornerstones of our childhood? But then they stop and they don't look at the evolution or the choices or the process after the fact, and they don't do a lot of comparing between other brands as well. So we have the guys at Mattel talking about stuff from Hasbro. We have guys from Kenner talking about, you know, stuff from NECA. We have the Four Horsemen talking about Mego. You know, so it's really nice and interesting to hear other people talk about other brands instead of just the stuff they work on and how their opinion of that stuff filters down and trickles back. So we get to focus on the how and the why it changed and went forward, as well as Jay's story that rolls out.